Hello, grade 7 students. All right, we are now at the last chapter of your book. You're about to finish. Are you happy? All right, let's finish this to prepare for your final test. Who is happy? Who is ready to prepare for the final test? Okay, all right. So let's do this one right now so you can prepare for it. And I hope you see this very clearly, okay, so that you can be ready for the final test. All right, so let's maximize our screen so you can clearly see everything on it. All right, okay, now this is science for Matayom 1. It means grade 7 in Thailand. All right, I want you to keep on repeating this video. You can set the subtitle into Thai language so you can repeat it and prepare for the final test. And then our topic is atmosphere and weather, specifically topic 7.1, layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Oh, I love the beach here in Thailand here. The beaches are very beautiful, but that is not our topic, okay? What is atmosphere? Haha, you know it? All right. So, what are the layers of the Earth's atmosphere? Look, our Earth is surrounded by a blanket of air known as the atmosphere. Look at this one. The atmosphere is made up of a mixture of gases. If compared to the diameter of the Earth, the atmosphere is very thin. You see this picture of the Earth on the right side? Our atmosphere can be divided into 5 layers. They are held to the Earth by the force of gravity. Okay? There are no actual visible borders between the layers of air and no drastic changes from a layer to the next layer. Instead, the change is gradual. Okay? So, now let us look at the layers in the atmosphere. Look at this, right? I have here the altitude from the lowest part, 10 kilometers. Okay, what is the tallest part of the Earth? That is Mount Everest at 8,848 meters from the sea level. Okay, so tall. And that you see here, the troposphere is from that level to around 10 kilometers. And then at around 50 kilometers or 10 to 50 kilometers, it is called the stratosphere where the airplanes fly. And then above that, from 50 to 80 kilometers, the mesosphere. Okay? All right. Oh, this is the stratosphere. Okay? Between 10 to 50, 50 to 80 mesosphere. And you have the thermosphere from about 80 to 500 kilometers high where the jet planes fly. And above that, above the 500 kilometers to 1,000 more, that is beyond where we fly. We call it the exosphere. Exo means outside the sphere of the earth. Right? Now, we live in the troposphere. Right here, you see clouds here. All right? The layer closest to the ground. It is about 10 kilometers in height. Okay? And contains 75% of the atmospheric gases. Okay? Weather occurs here because this layer contains most of the water vapor. That is why there are a lot of clouds in this area. All right. Now, above the troposphere is called the stratosphere. Okay. The stratosphere extends to the height of 50 kilometers. There is no cloud here, okay? And the air is still, all right? Still not moving. Therefore, most planes fly in this layer of air, okay? And the stratosphere contains a thin layer of ozone. This ozone layer absorbs the harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun. These rays cause sunburn and skin cancer. In other words, the ozone layer protects us from the danger of the sun, okay? And from skin cancer and sunburn, right? That is really good. I believe God made it for us. And so, we have some amazing facts. What is it? The temperature in the atmosphere varies from negative 100 degrees Celsius to 2000 degrees Celsius. It means from very cold to very hot, depending on its height from the earth. In other words, if it is closest to the earth, it might be very cold, and if it is far from the earth, it might be very hot. All right? Here, let's look at the mesosphere. Beyond the stratosphere, the air here is very cold and thin. I told you, right? This layer is known as the mesosphere, and it extends to a height of 80 kilometers. Most meteorites are slowed down and burnt out in this layer. All right? Interesting. What about the thermosphere? The thermosphere is the fourth layer from the ground. It is found between 80 kilometers and 500 kilometers above the Earth. Space shuttles fly in this area. I told you the jet planes, right? Aurora lights are found here. Okay? Now you see the exosphere. The farthest layer from the Earth is the exosphere, where the atmosphere merges into the space. Satellites are stationed here. You know satellites? All right. Now, the temperature of the atmosphere varies depending the height from the Earth. It rises and falls throughout the layers of the atmosphere. Look at here, this graph here on my lowest axis. You see the temperature from minus 100 degrees Celsius to 50. And on the side, we have the altitude from here 0, actually 10, even to 140 kilometers above. Now you see, what do you see here? You see at the top at around 110 to 130, we have the aurora. And then you have the meteors here around 60 to 80 kilometers high. And then you will see right here, this is the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Thermo, remember in our study before, means heat. In other words, it's hot in this part. Okay? Now, as we see, the temperature varies in different layers in the atmosphere. So here the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. It goes down to the here to minus 60 in about here 20 kilometers, between 10 to 20 kilometers, and it goes up to around 0 degrees Celsius in this area, around maybe about 47 kilometers. Yeah, it's hotter here, and it goes down again to like minus 90 degrees Celsius when it goes up to between maybe 85 to 90, maybe 93 kilometers above the sea level. And then it goes up again, hot right here to 50 degrees Celsius when The altitude is around 140 kilometers from the sea level. You see, the temperatures in different layers in the atmosphere varies or changes. I want you to watch this video, okay?
ค่า2ทุ่มคุ้มก่อนใครแจกส่วนลดร้านของคุ้ม 50%สำหรับ Shopee VIP ถ่ายรูปมุมไหนก็จอยกันทุกการใช้ชีวิต FWD ประกันชีวิต
Layers of the atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is the layers of the gases which protects the Earth from the radiations and cosmic rays coming from the outer space. This atmosphere acts as a blanket because it keeps the average temperature of the Earth nearly constant. Earth's atmosphere can be divided into 5 main layers. These layers are the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere.
ค่า2ทุ่มคุ้มก่อนใครแจกส่วนลดร้าน
Ahoy!
ของคุ้ม 50%
Advertisement
สำหรับ Shopee
again. Huh.
ถ่ายรูป
โอ้
มุมไหนก็จอยกันทุกการใช้ชีวิต FWD ประกันชีวิต
The troposphere. Tropos means change. This layer gets its name from the weather that is constantly changing and mixing up the gases in this part of our atmosphere. This layer is the closest to Earth's surface. On average, the troposphere extends from the ground to about 12 kilometers or 7.5 miles high. The troposphere contains about 75% of all of the air in the atmosphere and almost all of the water vapor, which forms clouds and rain. In this layer, air is made up of approximately 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% argon, with small amounts of additional gases, including water vapor and carbon dioxide. Hot air balloons fly within the troposphere. The stratosphere. Strat means layer. This layer of our atmosphere has its own set of layers. The boundary between the stratosphere and the troposphere is called the tropopause. It is the region where airplanes fly. The stratosphere layer extends from the tropopause to about 50 kilometers or 32 miles above the Earth's surface. This layer contains a thin layer of ozone molecules, which forms a protective layer and absorbs harmful ultraviolet radiation from the Sun. The high-altitude weather balloons, flying into the stratosphere, for monitoring atmospheric conditions and climate research.
1 กุมภาพันธ์2 ทุ่ม
Oh,
ก่อนใคร
ho,
แจกส่วนลดร้าน
advertise
ของ
it
คุณ
again.
50% สำหรับ Shopee
Sorry
VIP
for that.
The mesosphere. Meso means middle. This layer is located above the stratosphere and below the thermosphere. It is the third layer in our atmosphere, which is 35 kilometers or 22 miles thick. The transition boundary, which separates the mesosphere from the stratosphere, is called the stratopause. In the mesosphere, fewer air molecules to absorb incoming electromagnetic radiation from the Sun. Most meteors burn up in this atmospheric layer. A meteor is a piece of rock or matter that has been broken off in space and travels through the atmosphere. When they cross the mesosphere, friction and momentum cause the meteor to burn up and appear as a light crossing the sky. The thermosphere. Thermo means heat. This layer has extremely high temperatures and located above the mesosphere and below the exosphere. The boundary between the mesosphere and the thermosphere atmospheric regions is called mesopause. It is the coldest part of Earth's atmosphere. The thermosphere extends from the mesopause to 700 kilometers of 435 miles above the surface of the Earth. The thermosphere is the thickest layer in the atmosphere. Only the lightest gases, mostly oxygen, helium, and hydrogen, are found here.
ด้วยโมเลกุลโปรวิตามินนับล้านเชื่อมพันธะแกนผมคืนชีพผมเสียใหม่แพนทีนทรีทเมนต์
ทุกคนถ่ายรูปกันครับ จะสายไหนก็จอยกันทุกการใช้ชีวิต FWD ประกันชีวิต
The aurora and satellites mostly occur in this layer. An aurora is a natural light display in the sky, particularly in the high-latitude regions, that is caused by the collision of energetic charged particles with atoms in the high-altitude atmosphere. The exosphere. Exo means outside. The exosphere represents the outermost layer of Earth's atmosphere. It extends from the top of the thermosphere to 10,000 kilometers or 6,214 miles above Earth's surface. In this layer, atoms and molecules escape into space, and higher altitude satellites orbit our planet. temperature versus height. Near the surface of the Earth, the average temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, and the temperature gradually decreases to minus 56 degrees Celsius as altitude increases. Then the temperature remains constant below ozone layer. In the stratosphere region, from the ozone layer the temperature progressively increases to -2 degrees Celsius. Then, the temperature ranges from -2 degrees Celsius to -92 degrees Celsius, at the upper boundary of mesosphere. After then, the temperature rises from -92 degrees Celsius to 1,200 degrees Celsius, near the upper boundary of thermosphere.
Pantene ครีมนวดผมผสานโปรวิตามิน B5 และไบโอตินลดการขาดร่วง10 เท่าผมแพนทีนสวยได้ไม่งอโชค
Why it happens?
Why it happens? During the day, a portion of the incoming of the radiant energy from the sun passes through the atmosphere, is absorbed and warms the Earth's surface. Then, the heat's reflected back from the ground to the tropospheric air by conduction and convection process. The temperature in the troposphere gradually decreases with increasing altitude until the tropopause is reached. The stratosphere is very dry, and clouds are rare. As we know, ozone is concentrated in this part of the atmosphere. This ozone absorbs short-wave ultraviolet radiation from the sun and converts them into heat. More radiation is absorbed at higher altitudes compared to the lower stratosphere, so the temperature increases with height. The mesosphere has the coldest temperatures in the atmosphere. It becomes cold enough to freeze water vapor in its atmosphere into ice clouds. The air density in the mesosphere is low than in the stratosphere below. Due to less air particles, not enough heat is absorbed, which eventually leads to a colder temperature. Apart from that, carbon dioxide in the mesosphere also helps in making this layer cold due to its cooling effect.
ใหม่แพนทีนทรีทเมนต์โมเลกุลโปรวิตามินนับล้านคืนชีพผมเสียนาน 3 ปีตั้งแต่ครั้งแรกที่ใช้
Carbon dioxide molecules absorb heat energy when they bounce off other molecules. The carbon dioxide releases some of that energy as photons in a process called radiative emission. Some of those photons travel upwards, carrying heat away from the mesosphere. Thus, temperature in the mesosphere keeps dropping with increase in altitude until it reaches about -100 degrees Celsius. The thermosphere has extremely high temperatures. Within the thermosphere, temperatures rise continually to well beyond 1,000 degrees Celsius.
So hot.
The source of the thermosphere's heat is radiation emitted by the sun. The thermosphere absorbs much of the radiation that Earth receives from the sun, leaving only a fraction to actually reach the surface.
Wow. So hot, right?
Ultraviolet radiation, visible light, and high-energy gamma radiation are all absorbed by the thermosphere.
Oh, you should be thankful by the one who made it, who created it.
Since there is little to no atmospheric gases above the thermosphere, there is no absorption of the heat from solar radiation, and so temperatures soar.
All right.
The exosphere is almost a vacuum. The air is very, very thin air. When air is thin, it doesn't transfer much heat to objects in the air, even if the air is very, very hot. The temperature in the exosphere varies greatly and can range from 0 to over 1,700 degrees Celsius. It is
Oh,
colder at night and much hotter during the day.
dangerous. You'll be burnt there. Hohoy. All
If you
right.
enjoyed this video, then make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss a single video.
Okay. Have you seen it? Right? Wow. Is there anybody else among humans who can do it? Who could do it? There's nobody else. I believe it's God. Now, what are the conclusions? Our Earth has a layer of air called atmosphere surrounded it. Is divided into 5 layers based on their properties. In general, the temperature in the atmosphere varies a lot based on its height from the Earth. The atmosphere can be divided into 5 layers. What are they? Do you remember them? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. The troposphere is the nearest layer of air to the Earth and contains almost 75% of the mass of the whole atmosphere. Weather occurs here. The stratosphere layer absorbs the harmful ray, ultraviolet, from the sun. The mesosphere helps to slow down and burn out meteorites. Therefore, it helps to reduce the risks of meteorites hitting the Earth and causing harm to the organisms, including us. Many low-orbiting satellites are stationed in the thermosphere, including the International Space Station. The exosphere separates the rest of the atmosphere from the outer space. It has a lot of space between molecules of air. I want you to turn your book to page 162. Check how much you understand this subtopic by doing Test Yourself 7.1. Answer all the questions, please, and then I will check them and I will give you points. All right? Are you ready? See you in the next video. Bye-bye. All right. See you there. Okay. Have a wonderful day to you and your classmates. Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay.